Welcome back to the Abby Cakes YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about ganache drips on your cake, the ways to color them, the consistency, and the ways that you can drip them onto your cake. So first we'll start with what is ganache. Ganache is a mixture of chocolate, it can be dark, milk, or white, with heavy cream, getting it to the consistency that you need. It can be used for a filling. You can ganache the entire outside of your cake, or you can use it for a drip on your cake. We do tons of drip cakes here and I love it because it's very versatile. It goes along with many designs, many different themes for your cakes. So I've got 3 different ratios here so that you can see them. So the first ratio is 1:1, second is 2:1, and then 3:1. So when I say 1:1, it basically means 1 part chocolate to 1 part heavy cream. So 1:1 is very thin. Just because it's equal parts, that's a lot of heavy cream. So you can see it's pretty much liquid. So I would normally not drip with a 1:1. It would just go all the way down the cake and it wouldn't look like a nice drip. 2:1 is my go-to. It's 2 parts chocolate to 1 part heavy cream. And for almost all the drips that I do, this is the perfect consistency. So it's a little bit thicker. It's creamy and it'll drip very nicely. We also have a 3:1, just so you can see. So it's 3 parts chocolate to 1 part heavy cream. And this is pretty thick. You could, in theory, drip with this. You'd have to work really, really quick. Your cake would definitely have to be chilled. Yeah, this is not my go-to. But you can see it's nice for other things like a filling. So now that we know the consistency we want to use, which is the 2:1 ratio, we can talk about coloring ganache. If we just put a color into ganache, it's got a very yellow tone to begin with. So if we put a color into here, it would not be a true color. So let me just show you what that looks like. So we're gonna put this raspberry color into here. It almost has a translucent like tone to it. And I guess it depends on what you're going for. I normally would not use any sort of color like this. I always start with a white undertone and then color my ganache. So let's add some white. And this white is going into the 2:1 ratio that we're gonna drip with. And I'm just using white gel color. Okay, we're getting a little bit whiter. So that looks pretty good. So now if I add some of my raspberry color into here, we're getting a nice pink color. It's not translucent, you can't see through it. And let's go a little darker. That's really nice. So let me show you again the difference between the two. Obviously this is a little bit more loose just because it's the 1:1 ratio. But if we were to drip this onto a cake, kind of like you can see on the spatula here, you can see through it. The color is nice, it is vibrant, but you can definitely see through. In this one here, where we started with a more white undertone, it really keeps its color. And you can't see through it. When I drip this onto a cake, you definitely will not see the cake through it. Let's grab our cake and we'll go over the different ways that we can drip onto the cake. Okay, so now that our ganache is ready and it's colored, there are 3 different ways that we can add our drip to our cake. One is with a spoon, and it's really just spooning it on. The next is with a bottle, which is pretty common, and it's very similar to the last one, which is my preference, and it's using a piping bag. I feel like I have the most control over this, so this is my go-to, but we're gonna go over all 3. And it also depends on the drip you're going for. Do you want it to look like, you know, really something is dripping and falling off the cake? Do you want it to look like a very clean, sharp drip? So it's really your preference and your style and the look you're going for. So for this spooning method, I'm going to add a little line here and then come back and start dripping down with a spoon. Adding a little bit, but also kind of pushing what I started with here down the sides. Add a little Now we could leave the drip like this, or we could create a little more hang here with the drip. So I'm gonna push some more right here. Okay, the next one is the bottle. Obviously part of what goes into this too is the size of your hole that you're gonna use. This one's a little bit large, but I want to show you how it'll look. So kind of same thing here. A little bit of a line, and then come back and start dripping. So the next is the piping bag. Okay. Same here, a little line across, and then come back and start dripping. So here I feel like I have more control. If I want shorter drips, I have control over that as opposed to the spoon or the bottle. If I want a longer drip, I can do that. So personally, I prefer my drips to look very natural. And to me, that looks like a lot of these here. Like that's just how it would fall off a cake if we were really dumping a whole pot of ganache on here. So I try to create some of that if it's not naturally flowing like that. So I will kind of come back and add right here, kind of pushing it down and creating the fall of the drip. That looks so good. I love when some of the drips do fall to the bottom. I think it looks nice. I like when there's some short drips, there's longer drips. So back here, it kind of looks like there isn't one that's falling, so I will come back and add. So there you have it. 2-to-1 consistency, using whitener before you start adding color, and then any method that you like to put it onto the cake. If you have any questions, please let us know. If you have any tips or tricks yourself, let us know as well, and don't forget to like and subscribe.